Jamendo.com. 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 Jamendo.com.
Let's get going. Let's do it. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello.
Hello world, how are you? I hope you're well. All that matters to us is that you are
Well, bad. But not according to Trump, because he doesn't care.
well. Trump doesn't care anyway. Trump doesn't care about what Trump does there. I hope that you're well, folks. Listen, anyone that's watching in America, we hope to provoke your reactions because we all think Trump's a cunt.
Yes. Talking of which, I can put the phone number back on screen, can't I?
You can indeed. It's not on yet. It's still charging.
It'll be on in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, a couple of minutes, then it'll be charged up.
But by the time we get down to US politics...
Before we get down to US politics, let's all say hello. Hello, Lincoln Griffiths, how are you? And to anyone that wants to contact us when the phone gets charged up, isn't that playing?
It's Boris Johnson is having a jog.
Boris Johnson, we'll come to Boris Johnson in a bit. We'll come to Boris in a bit, having his little jog there with his big fat belly and his big fucking man boobs.
Yeah,
but anyway,
his first and second wife.
The idea tonight is, I'll be as provocative as I'm going to be from this week onwards. I intend to be provocative, but before we do that, Joel Ryder!
Yes.
How gorgeous do you look with your hair? Look.
What are you talking about?
Just don't ask him to marry you.
And look at Arel with his hair. Look at his hair. Look, Arel, come in. Oh, look at his hair. Look at his hair. Oh, look at his hair, though.
You're obsessed with people's hair.
I am. I'm obsessed with mine. It needs cutting and it needs getting cut. It's fucking horrific. But there you go. That's a product of coronavirus.
But
listen, before we do anything else, let's face the news. Sure, it's the science and tech news this week.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to put the glasses on for this one, folks, and just let you know the phone is now on. It is now charged. Feel free to phone us on the number you can see. Joe, you can point it out because I'm rubbish at it.
Right there.
It's there.
Not his forehead, not his ear or forehead.
Yeah. So if you want to, if you agree with anything we say tonight, or you disagree with anything we say today,
if you're calling from America, you've got 3 minutes.
You got 3 minutes. Ring us. I hope to provoke you into phoning us because, you know, that's the way it's going to be.
Diving in.
That is the news.
Go for it.
Science and tech. This week, folks, large United Kingdom businesses are to be banned from using products grown on deforested land. The government's legislation will be introduced to protect the rainforest by cleaning up the country's supply chains. Large UK businesses could be banned from using products grown on land that was deforested illegally under a new law being proposed by the government.
This should have been done 50 years ago, though.
Yeah, of course it should, but then again, it takes everything 15 years to do.
The amount of deforestation within the world is ridiculous.
Well, apparently, we'll get messages already. Look, apparently, we have over. Is it four times the size of Old Trafford, deforested in every second.
I don't know why you choose Old Trafford as a reference.
I don't know either. But there you go. It's the only reference point.
Number 10 deforestation.
But yeah, that's the level of deforestation we're seeing. The legislation will be introduced to clamp down on illegal deforestation and to protect rainforests by cleaning up the United Kingdom's supply chains.
So hopefully, when you go to, I was going to say IKEA, but that's not a British business, but places like that, and you buy a table
Yes.
or a chair or whatever, it's made of wood. Hopefully, in the future, it won't be coming from
A deforested part of the UK.
the rainforest. Yeah.
So that's deforestation. Deforestation has been.
My God, go away!
Oh, what is it? Is it a fly ant?
No, it's a bloody wasp with a broken leg.
Oh, kill it then! Kill it! It needs to be killed anyway.
So life when on Armchair we kill
it.
for
No, Paul.
animals and
No,
insects.
no.
Have you ever been stung by a
Listen,
wasp?
listen,
I did,
listen,
yeah.
Adele. Listen, Adele.
Listen, stung by a
Listen,
wasp.
Adele.
It's painful.
Wasps are nasty fucking bastards. They're the kind of people. If
Just do it in privacy.
no, fuck privacy. If you're in a pub, yeah, there's always that horrible bastard in the corner who's pissed and he wants to kick off everybody. Wasps are horrible fuckers. Kill them all. That's what I say. Moving on.
Boo to wasps.
Fuck you, wasps. I hate you. I absolutely hate you. Moving on. Listen, let's talk about plastic. Well, here we go. Plastic. What's plastic? This is plastic. This is plastic. That's plastic. This is plastic. This is our hand sanitizer. That's plastic.
That's plastic.
Everything's
And
plastic.
where does this end up?
Well, the amount of plastic in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
No, listen to me. Listen, Earl.
Contained and
In the ocean.
The amount of plastic in the Atlantic Ocean
Ends up in the ocean.
has been massively underestimated. A study suggests that scientists have had a totally inadequate understanding of how much plastic is in the water. The mass of so-called invisible microplastics found in the upper waters of the Atlantic has a weight of around 12 to 21 million. Let's just do that again, shall we? Million tons, according to new research. However, the estimate only takes into account 3 of the most common types of plastic litter found, which is limited in its size range. So Professor Richard Lampett, one from the National Oceanographic Centre, which is
A renowned professor.
Obviously, and one of the so-called authors, one of the co-authors of the paper said, if we assume, and this is quote, he said, quote, if we assume that the concentration of microplastics that we measured at around 200 metres deep, and that's fucking deep, folks, that's deep, seriously, is representative of that in the water massed to the seafloor below with an average depth of around 3,000 metres. So all we've measured so far is between 200 metres. So now we're going to, this guy saying 3,000 metres. Mm-hmm. Then the Atlantic Ocean might hold around 200 million tonnes of plastic litter in the limited polymer type and size category. Now, what that means is there's only certain elements that people are testing for in the ocean in terms of plastic, and they're only testing in a certain level, which is so far 200 metres deep. But he's saying that if you go below 3,000 metres, then it's completely underestimated on a huge and grand scale. It's something you need to really take into account here, folks, because I know that I've seen stuff where fish that have been fished up from huge depths, like rare fish and stuff, when they have been cut open and tested, they've got the micropolymers of plastic inside their intestines. They're ingesting plastic. And I also remember a really famous piece of footage that was taken when they were doing those submarine missions to the sea floor to look for a Titanic.
Was it a yellow submarine?
No, it wasn't. This is a real one. When they were on the seabed, which at depths that were like record depths, they actually saw plastic bottles and stuff lying on the sea floor. Yeah. Think about this, folks.
A lot of this plastic is in throughout the food chain.
Absolutely, because it's ingested, because it doesn't break down.
It's in all the water.
It doesn't break down, and the plastics that do break down are ingested by the fish, and we're eating the fish, and it's all going into the...
And this is all because of consumerism and...
Consumerism is all because everything is everything is...
You had Teflon in the... was it mid to late 90s, putting synthetic, some kind of synthetic chemical on their surfaces, which made Teflon the world famous, non-stick material. But little do people know that synthetic chemical is now in all of us. Because we've consumed it. We've
absolutely right.
We've eaten
it's
it.
in the food chain, basically. We fish it.
We're full of plastic. We're full of synthetic.
We're full of plastic. We're full of plastic. And it is an interesting point to know, by the way. There was an interesting paper published years ago that said, you know homosexuality. Well, you don't. I know you don't. I don't.
What?
Exactly. Do you know what homosexuality is?
What?
Homosexuality.
What is that?
Orel's a big homosexual.
Is he homosexual? Well, that's interesting, Joe. Thank you, because that means that means that Orel apparently is a byproduct of plastic. Now, bear with me on this. This is actually a scientific paper that was published, and this is true.
Has this been published during the Trump administration?
No, it's pre-Trump, unfortunately. But I'd love to say it was, but no, it wasn't. They were saying that because in the production of plastic, they use estrogen, which is the feminine hormone, and they use estrogen in the production of plastic. And they were claiming that the rise in homosexuality, and it's on the rise. Let me tell you, the puffs are everywhere. They really are. It is because it's a byproduct of plastic, apparently, because they found that. Well, I agree, but they found that there was a place that produced plastic, and it was a factory, and the factory. They used an external kind of water surface. They used it to drive parts of their. If you go and Google this, you will see for yourself. This is all true, by the way. I'm not making this up. They were claiming that.
Well, it's not true, but it's a.
No, I don't think it's true. But I'm saying a scientific paper was published. Genuinely published, that suggested, because they found...
I wonder who funded these scientists.
I have no idea, but they found that the fish that were produced in this...
And I'm sure these scientists in this study is not widely accepted at all.
I don't accept it. I know that maybe I'm the byproduct of plastic.
It's a joke story, and it's a joke study, so...
Let me finish the story.
It may have really happened, but it means nothing, because it's not true.
Well, I'm just offering it out to the public. Maybe they can phone us and tell us their thoughts. Maybe they think it is true. Who knows? They said that they found that there was a number of fish in the pond that they used, this huge pond that used for production of the water for their plastics, that turned out to hermaphrodite. It was something like 40% over the average of the normal fish. It's obviously nonsense, but it's there you go. But moving on, right. What are your thoughts, folks? Greenland. Let's talk about Greenland.
Greenland, yeah, go on.
Greenland has lost 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools of ice each second. Now, just cut the camera for a minute. Let's do what Bono did. Let's do this.
What? No, I thought that was.
It was Bono. No, it was Bono. It was Bono.
Who did the snapping Michael?
It was Bono.
Thanos. It was Thanos, right?
No, Bono was doing a gig. Have you heard of this?
No.
This actually happened. Bono was doing a gig, right, with U2. And he gets to that point now, he's got a big screen behind him, and he's talking about people dying in Africa, and he goes, he's in the middle of like one of his songs, and he stops and he goes, "Folks, watch. And he goes,
Oh, I have seen this.
and he goes, and then he clicks again and he goes, every second someone in Africa dies of starvation. So someone in the crowd, some genius in the crowd screams out, stop fucking clicking then, you cunt. But anyway.
Was that person you, Banjo?
If I was there, it would have been me. Yeah, but it wasn't me, unfortunately. I would like it to have been me. Greenland lost 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools of ice each second in 2019. The findings were made just days after other research found that the Iceland's ice may have melted beyond return, which is actually true. That's according to a new study which found that Greenland lost 532 gigatons, or...
Now, can I ask you a question?
What?
Oh, actually, hold on.
Go on.
Can I?
Ask me a quick... Go on. Go on. Is that question?
What is a gigaton?
Well, a gigaton is the equivalent of a billion. Now let's all.
A billion.
A gigaton is the equivalent of a billion metric tons of ice. Now think about that, folks. So they're saying that 532 gigatons, which is 1 gigaton is the equivalent of a billion metric tons. So there's 532 billion metric tons of ice is breaking.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of it will grow back, which is how the ice caps work. They recede each year and then they grow back.
Well, that's based on a previous record that was set in 2012. So what are we now? 2020. So that's what, 8 years. So in 8 years, 532 gigatons. 1 gigaton is a billion, as we've discussed. Anyway, that's pretty fucking. It's pretty fucking scary, is it not? Think about that, folks. So think about your grandchildren whenever you're consuming, and think about it carefully, and do your recycling careful.
Well, this is why we need, leaders to.
What is
to lead the way on climate change.
Well, I need to be the leader, and you can be my Home Secretary, and you can be my Foreign Secretary. All right, I'll swap it around because that sounds. You can be the Home Secretary, you can be the Foreign Secretary, right? There you go. And you can be the Home Secretary, which means that you deal with all the sort of law and order.
Yeah, take out all the foreigners.
No, I don't want to kick out. I don't want to kick out the foreigners.
This guy would be rooting for Trump.
He would, wouldn't he?
But let's remind the thing, from 1st of January, this country is not going to be in Europe.
Yeah! What do you mean?
And you won't be in this country.
Moving on.
As Chrissy would say.
Moving on. Death Valley. Let's talk about Death Valley. What's Death Valley? Death Valley is in California. It's in California, exactly. Death Valley recorded a temperature of 54.4 centigrade, which could be the highest ever reliably recorded on Earth.
What was that temperature?
54.4 centigrade. What is that in UK terms?
No, that is UK terms, centigrade.
Centigrade, absolutely.
Fahrenheit's American. In Fahrenheit, that's over 100.
Well, the reading may be the hottest since 56.6 centigrade was taken at the same place in 1913.
How much it was?
Go on.
It was 137 Fahrenheit.
Fucking hell! So we've seen temperatures of, is it 80 something?
What, Fahrenheit? We had 35 degrees centigrade here.
35, yes, so 3 times that.
Celsius. Is it centigrade or Celsius?
There you go. It all gets confusing, doesn't it? Yeah, exactly. It all gets confusing.
So we had 35, and Death Valley had 56, according to that image. 56 degrees.
It verified. Well, they said that the reading may be the hottest since 56.6 was taken at the same place in 1913. But the accuracy of that has long been disputed. It verified it would be the hottest weather since 56.6, which is 134 Fahrenheit. Now, what's that in this country?
100 and what?
134. We saw 80.
130. Well, that's 56.
Yeah, but did we say 82 Fahrenheit in this country?
No, 35 centigrade Celsius.
Yeah, but
so that's about 80 Fahrenheit. 82
we saw last year. In the hottest period recently, we've seen 82. They're seeing 134. So think about that. You can't stand out in that. Yeah, exactly. It was registered at the same place on 10th of July, but the accuracy of that reading belongs to you guys.
She seems so happy about the heat, though.
She does, doesn't she? It's because you know why? It's because she's got a big hat on and she's fat.
She's happy.
Is that what it is? It's because she's happy.
Not selfish. She's got 1,000 of likes.
Well, there you
That's
go.
all that matters. Doesn't matter.
She's on this show, you know. That's why she's happy.
What about the scramble to contain the spillage in Mauritius, though?
Oh, and here's another climate and environmental impacting story.
Go on then. Go on.
Which is this oil spill, and it's huge.
How big is that?
The thing is that these oil spills, they used to be dozens a year back in the
80s, early 90s. Yeah.
But now there's about 1 or 2 a year. But every time this happens, there has to be a big cleanup effort, and invariably it doesn't clean up a lot of the oil.
No, it doesn't. It breaks it down. That's what they do.
Although we've got better at it now than
they spray chemicals. They spray chemicals above to break it down. Like if you do, like say you're washing your frying pan and you've got a lot of fat in it, you put washing up liquid in it, don't you? And it breaks it up, and then you wash it down with the sinkhole. But the fat's still there, but it breaks it up into smaller contained. That's what they do basically on a bigger scale when they've got a huge oil spill like this. But anyway, that's the science and tech news.
That, everybody's recycling and everybody's being aware of the environment.
Just being aware of the fact that we're all going to die.
Yeah, the planet's doomed.
Oh, we're all going to end up gay, which is a good thing. So there you go.
Did you say so?
But of course, if you believe in Trump, then climate change is
It's a myth. It's a myth. It's not going to happen. It's all bullshit. You know, if you believe in Trump, do you know what you are? Oh, should I save it? Should I save my?
Save it.
I'll save my little rant. Anyone watching America? By the way, can you share our feedback? By the way, folks, just click share. Click share. It's coming. And thankfully, we haven't got this. We haven't got.
What's next on the news?
Well, the next on the news is if we're not doing science and tech, then we're going to go obviously to the coronavirus.
Is anything new right now about coronavirus?
Yes, there is. There is. Are you suffering from coronavirus, folks? Are you suffering from coronavirus? Well, if you are, or if you think you might be, or if you think you might not be.
Stupidity around this country.
Why, Ralph?
People, they don't have social distance at all. No matter what you say.
They're not social distancing, are they?
Nah.
And no one's wearing masks either. I was on the tube.
Actually, not nobody.
Well, not everybody, obviously.
They use.
Well, a lot of people.
A lot of people are.
They need to be teach how to keep a social distance of 2 meters. No matter what, they are stupid people.
Well, they are stupid people. Do you know what? I wouldn't say stupid. I'd say selfish. I'd say selfish. That's what I would say.
We've managed to drive down the infection numbers in this country dramatically. I mean,
Infection numbers, well, no, we haven't.
It's just a handful of infections per day now.
I'm not too sure about that one, brother. I don't know.
That are being reported.
Let's Google that one because I'm not too sure. The death rates, yes, but not infection. No, infection's gone up.
Death rates is probably what I mean.
Infection's gone up by a huge amount. In fact, there's parts of the north now that have been. Remember, here on the Armchair Anarchists, we stated, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Are we boring you at all?
No, absolutely not.
Are you
I
sure?
I slept last night properly.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Let's not go into it. Let's not talk about it.
And wake up at 6.
I would say the infection rates are on the up, but we said on this programme that we would see localised lockdowns of areas. We wouldn't see a nationalised lockdown again because obviously the economy wouldn't deal with it. But we'd see localised lockdowns, and we're seeing that right now. In the north, we're seeing localised lockdowns. I know that we've got one in parts of near where I live, where I used to live in the north. Moston, North Manchester, we're seeing Rochdale, we're seeing Oldham, parts of Oldham, Bolton being locked down. Localised lockdowns, not going to see a national one again.
Can't afford it.
We can't afford it, the economy can't afford it, that's what it is. Someone made a decision somewhere else that obviously the economy was of far greater importance than social health. So there you go. Anyway,
the numbers. It was the daily deaths that are really down. It's down to about 4 a day, but the daily cases are still 853.
And those are recognised cases. Those are recognised cases.
In the UK,
Yeah, they're only recognised cases because they've been reported. People have gone to hospital, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still there and it's still high, and America is feeling a huge. Jesus Christ! I mean, Trump.
They've gone over 177,000 deaths and over 5 million cases.
And that's only going to rise.
And it is the worst hit country in the world now, even if you factor in relative population sizes and densities and all that.
And so there's no question that the reaction from the Trump administration has had a direct effect on that, which means that
we'll get to him in a minute. But what was the big breaking news?
Yeah, what was the breaking news about coronavirus? Comes out in a minute. Coronavirus, needle-free vaccine. Which coronavirus! Needle-free vaccine which targets all coronaviruses.
Needle-free.
Needle-free. Exactly. What does that mean? So it's swabbing.
Tell us.
Could start trials in autumn. So a needle-free vaccine which targets all coronaviruses could start trials in August.
Go on.
In the autumn, funding of 1.9 million has been provided, which allowed the research team to take the vaccine candidate to clinical trials. Clinical trials. Let's not hold our breath, folks. We're still looking towards 2021 before we see anything on this. But anyway, a coronavirus vaccine developed by the University of Cambridge. Go on, Cambridge. We are leading the world.
Oxford and Cambridge?
Because we're the cleverest bastards on the planet. That's why, Joe. Look.
Jesus Christ. If we're an example.
Well, I am. Oh, right. Look at this. A coronavirus vaccine.
This,
well, I'm going to tell you now, Joe. I'm going to tell you now, Joe. I'm going to tell you now. A coronavirus vaccine developed by the University of Cambridge, which is delivered through a single jet of air, could enter clinical trials by autumn.
A single jet of air?
A single jet of air, yes.
No.
The proposed vaccine named...
They might have got... No, carry on.
All right, let me finish. A proposed vaccine named, I think it's Dios, Covax 2 would be administered through a patient's skin. It'd be administered through a patient's skin, eliminating the use of needles and making it pain-free. Now, let's talk about this for a minute, because there's been a lot of talk about vaccines for a period of time in clinical trials, has there not?
Yeah, most of which are in phase 2 and a handful are in phase 3.
A handful in phase 3. Now, I personally, do you feel confident in a vaccine that has been rushed through at this pace? I know I'm still...
Now, the thing is, you're saying rushed through. You can say that about Russia. You can say that possibly about America, because I think Trump's about to announce that they've got a vaccine before the election date.
Yes, he is.
But the thing is, in this country, and I trust our chief scientific advisor, he's been flawless, pretty much, in the facts that he's been giving out. And he's making sure that all of them are going through, even though they're streamlining, they're making the techniques better and more improved, but it won't be out until mid to late next year, if not 2022. So what I'm saying is
that makes sense to me. That makes sense
in this country I don't think we'll be cutting corners.
Well, I hope not. I truly hope not. But I think the pressure being placed upon government political figures to rush through a vaccine of any kind is of such immense weight. Anything at all that shows, because at the moment you've got these at the moment in America, Trump is pushing the idea of this idea of taking plasma, i.e. blood, from patients that have recovered from coronavirus.
The convalescent plasma, or plasma, as they like to call it.
And they're saying there's a 30% success rate in injecting.
Now, many scientists have already come out and said that there's not enough data. Or data.
Data's their word.
There's not enough data to conclude that using plasma is effective on a wide and broad scale for mass population use. You can use it on a very small percentage of patients which meet certain specific criteria, but that's it.
Yeah, exactly. But Trump is so desperate to hinge everything on economic recovery for his re-election hopes. He is rushing through.
Wait until we get to his convention in a minute.
The convention,
But
let's rush to the
I
convention.
really like this needleless
Well,
vaccine
so-
where you just spray some air, and it reminds me of Star Trek.
Why?
It reminds
I
me-
don't watch Star Trek,
It
Joe.
reminds me of Star Trek.
Star Trek's totally
and
you.
what is called a hypo spray is what the doctors in Star Trek always use, and they always put it on your neck, and just like this. This is what it's going to be like. You're going to be just jabbed with a puff of air.
Yeah, but how can it be on your neck if it's a puff of air?
It's
if I
going to
use
go
a
into your
bike pump,
jugular veins.
Can I use that air from the bike pump?
I'll use a bike pump on you in a minute.
A bike pump.
Well, you said blow
Yeah, but
air.
I don't
That
understand.
is
I don't understand. How can I?
I'll shove it up your arse and blow it.
How can? Oh, listen. Stop being
That is in the
fetishist.
Cambridge researcher mind. Pump air. Shall we take a pump and pump
How
air?
do you do this, Joe? Explain.
It's right. They spray a mist, is what it is.
How do you do it on your neck?
It's a mist.
You know.
No, that's just a Star Trek fictional picture.
Right. Okay.
They could do it on your arm or something. I don't know.
Buy some spray from any shop.
And then it's absorbed directly into the skin and then into your blood. And blah, blah, blah.
Or shall we make a hole?
And as well, listen. I hope that's the case because I don't like needles. I hate needles. I mean, I could never be a smack technique. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the needle
So
thing.
blow air.
Blow air.
Just
Blow air.
just give someone a good blow, and you'll be fine.
But listen.
Cambridge researcher.
Yeah.
Can
How
we?
in your mind just blow air?
No, but listen. Can we?
So can I
beg
just
you.
drag your minds out the gutter for a second
Go on,
and just move it to the next news story,
Which
which I
is
do believe is
Jacob Blake protests. Now,
Yeah, the
let's
latest
get serious for a
shooting
minute. Let's get
of
serious for a
a
minute.
black person in America.
Joe,
The latest high-profile
you go with
shooting.
it.
of a
You
black
go with
person
it.
in
You go
America.
with it.
Because he was shot several times in the back, as you've all probably seen on the news,
7 times.
while he was reaching in his car, presumably for his 3 children, which are in the vehicle at the same time. And so this has sparked up protests, and this protests have got slightly out of hand. In the past 24 hours, 2 dead after multiple gunshot victims at Wisconsin protests. It comes on the 3rd day of unrest over the police shooting of Jacob Blake, whose families say he's been left paralysed.
He's been left paralysed. So listen, folks. I mean, these people are. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Listen, we've got the class structure in our.
I actually have. Sorry, I just got a quick video for you to watch.
Yeah, watch this. Watch this. Watch this.
What the f- Medic! Give me this. That was not me! I just saved him! Hey, look at me.
Keep him right there. We're coming out to you. We got right in front of Bearcat. We're coming out to you.
Backing up! Backing up! Let's go! Let's go!
So, yeah, that happened in the past 24
So,
hours.
Joe, explain that to us. Explain that to us.
Well, I'm not sure who was shooting at who. I don't know who they were. I have no idea. But it's obviously been sparked by the shooting of Jacob Blake and all the other killings by police that have happened in America. Now, I don't know who's instigating it.
What the fuck? I mean,
don't know.
this
But
is like
the thing
civil war now.
But the thing is, the Trump administration hasn't helped. He's fanned the flames of.
Of course he has. It's used racism.
He's been racist. He's fanned the flames of white supremacy, and also on his convention, the Republican National Convention, which has been happening for the past 2 nights, has another 1 or 2 nights to go. Last night they had a white couple from, I think it was from Wisconsin, and they are a very rich white couple, a very privileged white couple, and they live in what looks like Buckingham Palace, But they came onto their lawn with a fully automatic machine gun and pistols, pointing them at peaceful protesters of Black Lives Matter, which were marching past their property. Now, the protesters or a small group or a couple of people from the protesters that wanted to incite a bit of violence did break part of their fence, and that's the reason that they've given for coming out with automatic machine guns and pistols. Now, Trump had these people on his convention last night trying to back Trump, promote Trump, and Trump is endorsing what they did. And this all comes back to the Second Amendment and the freedom to bear arms in America.
No, but I'm not right in suggesting that at the moment the NRA are under fire. Forget there's no pun intended here, by the way. Are under fire because they've been found to be embezzling funds. They've been found to be fraudulent with regards to the money.
They're as corrupt as
corrupt as fuck. But anyone that is, imagine in the UK, we transfer it to the UK. Imagine anyone walking out into their garden with an AK-47, which is an automatic firing pistol, which is what Joel's just described. Someone who's got basically a machine gun in their house.
Yeah.
Because someone broke their fence. I tell you what, if that's the case, I would have shot fucking 1 billion people by now. For silly reasons. If you've got that kind of armoury in you, it's fucking insane. But following on from this
and it was after they came out on their lawn and did this. It was after that that the gun shooting that you just saw in the video happened as well. So it's all kind of snowballing. One effect leads to another.
Well,
it's
and
crazy.
you reject the call.
But the thing is that you can't.
I thought I called it.
No, that was calling you. Sorry, Mel.
Mel, sorry, call back.
We're
Sorry.
in deep discussion.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I called
But
it.
the fact is that, especially in America, and we talk about it so much because the leader of America does actually affect a lot of the world in terms of politics.
He's the leader of the free world.
Beliefs, how we think and act.
Listen, the man got into power by provoking racial fucking. In America, racial inequality it runs as deep as the class divide does in the UK. It's the same, if not worse. Sorry, Mel, by the way, I didn't mean to do that. That was an accident. I thought I'd called you.
But if you call, it doesn't show the both sides. It's just showing the middle.
Well, anyway, I'm sorry. But anyway, on the basis of this, sorry about that. I didn't do that on purpose.
No,
Melania Trump has been dragged out of the shadows by a hair to front to do a speech for Trump's Republican Party. Now, get your head around this. One, she couldn't even read a teleprompter properly. Two,
I don't trust her anyway.
why would you? She's a fucking high class prostitute, and I'm sorry, I don't care about saying this. She obviously is. Well,
She is.
Melania. What was it that first attracted you to billionaire Donald Trump?
money.
No shit, Sherlock. She's stunningly beautiful, and she's with this fat, forested, gormless, permatanned, fat old man.
But let's not fat shame anybody for a start.
I'll fat shame anyone I fucking want, and especially if it's called Donald Trump. I don't give a shit. He's a fat prick.
But anyway.
And by the way, if you disagree with me, please feel free to ring and tell me why. I don't care.
Can we get back to the story?
Please do. Go on.
Right. The fact is that, well, let's move on to the convention.
Yeah, people want the Republican convention, please.
And this is just a snippet of what it's been like.
Go on.
America! It's all
Sorry.
Good example, though. Good example.
That was my technical
Good
technical
example.
hitch there.
Good example.
Both of them on our view.
Yeah. That's what it's inducing.
Don't worry.
But this is a snippet of what's it's like. So hold on.
America! It's all on the line. President Trump believes in you. He emancipates and lifts you up to live your American dream. You are capable, you are qualified, you are powerful, and you have the ability to choose your life and determine your destiny. Don't let the Democrats take you for granted. Don't let them step on you. Don't let them destroy your families, your lives, and your future. Don't let them kill future generations because they told you and brainwashed you and fed you lies that you weren't good enough. Like my parents, you can achieve your American dream. You can be that shining example to the world. Manifest and be the change in this country that you dream, that you hope, that you believe in. Stand for an American president who is fearless, who believes in you, and who loves this country and will fight for her. President Trump is the leader who will rebuild the promise of America and ensure that every citizen can realize their American dream. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream, the best is yet to come.
Do you know that very popular?
Oh my!
Do like that?
What?
Planes in the back.
What?
The same shoes.
No, but seriously, folks.
They've likened her, if you remember the Power Rangers.
Oh my God!
God.
Oh my God!
To the
Almighty!
character.
Oh my God!
Anyway,
Almighty!
this is what the
This
Republican National
is-
Convention has been like.
Did you see?
And basically, it's been a screaming match
Did-
from all of Donald Trump's sons
Did you see Donald Trump?
and all the speakers. They've basically been spouting and shouting all this.
Did you see Donald Trump's son? Did you, boys? Look! Did you see Donald Trump's son?
Eric,
Eric? No, not Eric.
Donald.
Donald Jr. This now. The rule number one, right? When you get into politics, you have to learn camera savvy kind of techniques, which is hand movements, suggesting and reinforcing and pointing and this. So I can do this now, and I can show you how annoyed I am. But when Donald Trump Jr. came on online and he did his speech, it was so exaggerated and over the top and completely disjointed to what he was actually doing. It was so blatantly obvious what an absolute wanker he is. He is an absolute twat. His son's a twat. He's a twat. And if you, in any way, shape or form, not him. It's, oh God almighty, it was just such a, it was just so blatantly over the top. It was almost voguing. It was voguing.
But the thing is, the major point is.
What do you mean, Joe?
Is that Trump?
What do you mean, Joe?
Is that Trump and his administration have been bigoted, racist, misogynistic?
They've based their entire campaign on being racist.
And now, when it comes to re-election and they're in the convention, they're trying to reverse all of that. They're trying to rewrite history. They're trying to come across as being like all for equality, and it's just pure.
It defies words. Listen, there's three key points to it. Well, number one, right? Donald Trump was elected. The last election was started. His election campaign began in 2016 with him talking about Mexicans being rapists and being, drug dealers and building a wall and all this kind of nonsense. And he based it on a racist format. And then fast forward 4 years now to his re-election campaign. Number one, he's now laying down the foundation for his campaign to be based on the postal vote. It's not going to, because Joe Biden's 10 points ahead in the polls.
Yeah.
He's now claiming that because he knows there's a chance he's going to get beaten in the key electoral states like Philadelphia and like Florida, where Biden's ahead.
Even Texas.
Even Texas, where Biden's ahead, is now laying down the foundations for there to be a dispute in terms of the initial vote. All it will mean, the electoral ballot, is that he's claiming that the things that have been sent out. He's just turned down a $2.5 billion request, dollar request by the Democrats to aid the postal service in America, because a lot of people, because of the coronavirus, don't want to go out and vote, so they're going to do it by post. So to do that, what you have to do is you have to apply to vote, and then you get an application through the post. That's the key thing to remember here, folks. You get an application, you apply, and then you get your ballot through the post. He's claiming that they're being sent out to dogs and cats and everything else. No, he's actually claiming this in his speeches. It's nonsense. What he's doing is laying down the foundation so that he can dispute the outcome from the election that's going to come in 2 months' time.
Because he was so scared that he was going to lose the election because of everything that he's done. And the people are
because
against
it's been
him.
so useless.
And he put one of his biggest contributors and friends as the head of the postal service, and then that person took out mailing sorting machines, post boxes, took out a lot of infrastructure which would deal with the US Postal Service. And obviously that's going to affect the election and all the mail-in voting. And now how can Trump turn around and say, well, the Democrats...
Well, he did it in 2000. He did the same thing in 2000. If you go back and look, folks, you'll see in 2016, Donald Trump actually believed he wasn't ever going to win. So what he did is he started to undermine the whole process by claiming that there's going to be fraudulent votes in all of these key minor states.
But the thing is that he's making it fraudulent. And he's being fraudulent himself. He's trying to...
He's full of shit.
Yeah, he's trying to rig the election.
Of course, he's
even said that any result from this election could be weeks, months, or years. And then he went on to say that there might not even be a result at all.
Yeah, but
so what's that going to...
Well, the key thing is that what it ultimately boils down to here is he's undermining the process by saying he's laying down the foundation, and it's working apparently it's working, because you see what Donald Trump does, as I'm sure you know, anyone that's watching America knows, all he does is reinforce a key statement. He just reinforces it and reinforces it and reinforces it, and then with a thick brain dead meth addicted idiots in America, they will listen to this man who says that, you know, if postal votes are going to be fraudulent for a start off. No, they're not. No, they're not for a start off. No, they're not. Number two, all he's doing is laying the groundwork so that when it comes in, which it looks like it's going to do because of his poll numbers, it's looking like he is going to lose by a huge margin to Joe Biden. So because on that basis, he's now laying down the groundwork and the framework for him to be, he's going to be undermined and he's going to lose. So on that basis alone, he's, hey mate, how you doing? He is going to lose. On that basis, he's laying down the framework so that when he does lose, he's going to dispute it. And then what they do is he'll go to a recount. And then he's talking about going to solicitors. He's talking about going to lawyers and holding up the count of the next vote. It's going to be a shitstorm, and I can't wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be great to watch. It's going to be fascinating to watch. If anyone watched his speech at the Republic, did you watch it?
Well, he's been on every single night of the convention.
He
whereas
knows.
Usually, a presidential candidate will wait to the last night to give his acceptance speech for candidacy, etc., etc.
Yeah,
but he's actually an executive producer of the convention.
And have you watched it?
Yeah.
It looks like an episode of The Apprentice. If you look at the huge, look at where the camera sweeps in from below. And it's
all these huge shots of the White House and Washington. Also,
it's outrageous.
They're holding the RNC mostly in Washington, and it was actually
at the White House.
Yeah,
at the White
House as well. And that's not meant to happen because the conventions are meant to take place in a separate state apart from the seat of power in the US. The Democratic convention took place in Wisconsin. The Republican convention was meant to take place in Carolina, North Carolina. No, Charlotte, I think, actually, yeah, in Charlotte.
Charlottesville?
Not Charlottesville. No, in Charlotte, North Carolina, I think it was. It was meant to take place there, and just because they couldn't get a live crowd, and they did want a live crowd up until, I think, mid-June. And then it was only then when they started to think, right, well, we can't do this because otherwise it's really going to fuck us up and we're going to look bad. But they did want to go ahead with having thousands of people cramped into a convention centre, just so they could have that live reaction. And they've had to scribble this, and now they've moved it all to Washington. It's a big mistake.
It's going to be fascinating watching this next election process, because I tell you what, I'm trying to his prediction from me.
Go on.
You're going to see an absolute shitstorm. There's unless Trump sees the kind of results coming back like he did last time, where he was as surprised as the rest of the world when he saw the come back in. If you look at Trump's election team from when he was elected in 2016, every single solitary member has either ended up in prison. Three of his three key leaders of his election campaign are now in prison, including his lawyer, by the way, Cohen. Kellyanne Conway, you know that horrible bitch who used to come on and lie like through her teeth about anything. She's now resigned. Everyone, Steve, what's his name? Steve
Bannon.
Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
All of them, they've all gone. He's now left. They're leaving it to Trump now. The Republicans are leaving it to Trump. He's took over the Republican Party. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be great.
I wouldn't be surprised
It's going to be great.
if this president and his administration have had the most kind of court, most people suing them in an administration, because he's been sued, and his
Look how low the bar's gone.
His administration have been sued so many times.
Look how low the bar's gone, Joe. Look how low the bar's gone around. Look how low it's gone. The
This
bar is so low.
This isn't you jump from Obama to Trump. This is not how a US president or any head of state should act.
We had the
Please,
most
you
problems
take a
in
look at
history
what.
of America. The first president, the first administration, he had the most problems one by one. Every each week he was on TV claiming, because it's not true, that the media is fake news and all that.
Oh yeah.
Look how low the bar's dropped.
Fake
Yeah.
news. I love this term now, because he's spouting so much fake news, and he always has.
He always has.
Yeah.
He always has. But now he based his entire re-election campaign upon the economy, and then coronavirus came. Then because coronavirus came, now it's not coronavirus anymore. It's called the China plague.
He calls it a plague, and he calls it the China virus.
China plague. It's all China's fault.
He's
apparently.
blaming it all on China.
Everything's China's fault.
Granted, it did come from Wuhan, which is in China, but
But what he's doing is playing to his base. He's playing to these conspiracy theorists and a conspiracy theory
he's
is.
trying to broaden his base as well.
He's playing to them. He's playing to them on a grand scale. He is claiming that this is something that was brought on by China, and it's out of his control. The economy
He's
is
trying to blame the Democrats for it as well, but he's been in power for 4 years. He's been in power during the entire pandemic. He's been in control of what happens.
And if you look at it doesn't take Columbo to work this one out, folks. We don't need Columbo to come in and work this one out.
Just one more thing.
There's one more thing, exactly, is the fact that America has now got the highest death rate and the highest in contagion rate in the world, and it's all because Trump desperately just wanted to just play it down, because the economy was the key thing, and now he's going back to the economy and claiming it's now.
And now he's strong-arming government bodies as well, which should not be strong-armed by the executive branch. The FDA, which controls...
I've been strong-armed in the FDA was...
which is basically in control of all the drugs...
allowing drugs to be approved for the national kind of consumption.
They were against convalescent plasma a few weeks ago, if not a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and now, because the convention's happening and obviously Trump's got involved, they've approved it. They've given it emergency approval.
And I saw the you're absolutely right. And I saw the press conference given where the head of the FDA was there, and you know that the moment that person turns around and goes, "Thanks to the leadership of our President Donald Trump," you know, for a start off, this is a sycophant who is just absolutely, completely and utterly under the thumb of this man.
Yeah.
Big, balding, fat, gormless, orange shit gibbon.
He's a sociopath. As well as many other things, probably. But there are still people out there, and I had somebody message me yesterday because I put various posts on my social stories about what's going on, and I had somebody message me saying, how can you be, basically saying, how can you be against Trump? He's doing so many good things for the country. He's trying to fix this, he's trying to fix that, and
he needs to fix his hair.
It's just
He needs to fix his hair.
total lies, but he seems to be brainwashing a few people.
Well, he's playing to his base, but I mean, what do you think, folks? What do you think? Do you think he's going to get
Can we
re-elected?
have somebody from America call?
Yeah, call us. Listen, I personally, here's my personal stance. Anyone watching from America, if you follow this man, then you are not a candidate for Mensa. You need to go and take your head for a huge, massive, long, and satisfying shit, because there's nothing else you need to do. You are obviously brain dead. That's my opinion.
Okay. So let's just take a breath a second.
I can't when it
Let's
comes
just
to this
take a
man. I
breath.
can't.
Can I just say that we are missing?
We're missing
our colleague and fourth presenter.
Yes.
Who's taking some time off at the moment.
Sabbatical for health reasons. Look at him, there he is with his arm.
Chrissy Darling.
He's lost an arm. He's lost an arm.
Britain Got Talent.
Hopefully we'll be able to bring Chrissy back on in the coming weeks.
Britain's Got Talent finalist is not with us today, but I'm sure that once his health is in a better place, he'll be back with us.
Yep.
But let's all take a moment of silence just to think about Chrissy Darling.
Hold on. I have.
What have you got?
Well, I've got something which is. You want a minute silence?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, well, I'll give you about 10 seconds.
Thank you. That was the perfect one.
Chrissy, we love you, and we hope you're back with us soon. We hope that your health recovers, and we can't. Obviously, we miss you. And Jim Mockey's got a lot to say, but we haven't seen him for a while. But we look forward to hearing from him in the future. But listen, folks, you know what we have got, and it's something to put in your diary. You better put down in your diary when the election comes up. We're going to be holding a special. We'll be there, suited and booted.
On November 3rd.
November the 3rd, we'll be here, suited and booted. Will we not, boy?
From around 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning.
2 a.m. in the morning. So every time we say this, Arel goes pale. The colour drains from his face.
Of course, because I need my sleeping beauty.
So what you need to do on that basis is you have to sleep either during the day or the night before, because there's going to be no sleep during that night, because we ain't sleeping till we get the results coming. When we start to see the key states, yes, you'll get paid in food and drink.
Oh, Donald Trump is going to finance.
Yes, you'll get paid in food and drink. But yeah,
so we're looking forward to that, because we covered the UK election, which happened last year.
We did indeed,
and that was fun. We had a lot of interaction on that night. We had a lot of people calling in.
Should we say a few lows? Hiya, Daniel Donnelly. How are you, my brother? Bobby Baker. Another sign of chair sexual is having a specific seat in which the person always sits and becomes upset when another person sits in their spot. Don't know what that means, Bob.
That's when you sat in my chair when I had to go to the door.
Oh, is it? The state of only being sexually attracted to chairs, often confused with asexuality. A chair sexual person is often recognised as an almost sigh-like sound coming from the mouth where one sits. Should we read that again?
Just read that last bit again.
No, I need to get Bob, Robert. Can I call you Robert rather than Bob? The state of only being sexually attracted to chairs, full stop. Often confused with asexuality, comma. A chair sexual person is often recognised as an almost sigh-like sound coming from the mouth where one sits. That's very, Bob, that's very poetic. Brother, do you know what that means? Because I've got no idea.
I don't know.
I've got no idea what you mean, Bob. But thank you for your comment.
If it's a joke, we didn't get it.
No, we didn't get it. But so maybe you'd like to clarify. Daniel Donnelly, how are you, brother? We love you. James Wilkinson, I love you, my brother. How are you? Bonnie Adley, how are you, my dear? And hello to my mum, Lynn. How are you doing, sweetheart? We love you too. And Mel's coming tomorrow, boy.
Friday. Tomorrow is Thursday.
Oh yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. My Mel's coming on Friday, which I look forward to. I can't wait to see her.
It's not Thursday. We wish to be Thursday.
I think she'll be here for us. I think she'll be here next week. She can join our broadcast. Do you want to say hello to your Mel?
Which Mel?
I'm
Melanie Duffin.
The Spanish one.
The Spanish
Mel.
The Spanish
Yeah,
Mel.
I'm not sure if he's watching. He's not watching actually.
No,
I think he's at the gym, so
No, is it?
yeah.
I
He's always at the gym.
also love to Kieran. How you doing, brother? Love to see you too.
You know, he stays until closing time, which is 11 o'clock.
Well, why though?
I don't
There's
know.
only so much. There's only so much workout you can do. Mel, there's only so much
He's
workout you
finishing
can do.
around 7, probably 5-7, and he's going to stay
Well,
till
you can watch
11.
it back later, can't you?
Yeah, watch it back, and if you do, Mel, we love
And
you, man.
he doesn't.
Come and join the show.
He doesn't. Straight away he calls me.
He doesn't watch it.
No, he doesn't.
Well, Mel, I'm not being funny, brother. If you don't watch it, then you won't see this. But if you do see this, you should be watching it because your boyfriend's on it. So you should be watching this program. So,
Yeah.
point to note there.
And,
On that bombshell,
we will say goodbye and see you next
we
week.
see you next week. We love you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Jamendo.com. 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 Jamendo.com.